Legend tales of a place where the booze flows freely and the stories are always entertaining. If you are bold enough to seek out such a place, head 13 miles down the Tuscan Highway to a tiny blues joint known as the Townsmith Tavern. Once there, enjoy the ride. Ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to a UA production of Beer, Blues, and Bowl.
Excuse me, you can't say that. You're gonna lose your family-friendly rating. You're gonna corrupt the kids.
BS! A podcast that invites you to grab a cold beverage, pull up a seat, and enjoy time with friends. And here are your hosts, Howard Blues and the Mark Kidder.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Beer, Blues, and BS, the podcast that everybody enjoys. I'm your host, Howard Blues, here with my co-host, as always, the man, the myth, the legend, the Mark Kidder. Kidder, how's it going this week?
Well, thanks for that wonderful, rousing introduction there, Howie Blues. I am doing well. How about yourself? I'm happy. Well, before I ask you, because I want to know how you're doing, obviously. And as we've talked about before at the white balance shifting, I am happy to be here again. Happy for the weekend. Happy for another time that we get to spend together. And you and I get a lot of time together. So before we get to all that, how the hell are you, my buddy? My bro, my friend, my family?
You know, I'm doing okay. It's been a week, man. It has been a week. My job has just been full of interesting things, and it's kept me busy. So, it started actually last Friday, actually last Thursday, and we didn't get a chance to talk about it on the last podcast, but one of my sites was in danger of a wildfire out in Medora. In fact,
a little crispy out
I
there,
actually have a photo. Yeah, I do have a. Let me pull
You're
it
gonna
up.
share a photo with us? This is show and tell. Do we have the rights to show this? That's the real question. Do we have to pay for this?
No, we don't. I just have to note that this photo is courtesy of the State Historical Society of North Dakota. Yeah, this is a fire, a shot of the fire. It was kind of up on the hillside above. This is the Chateau de Mores out in Medora. It is a 100 and what is it now? It's 38-year-old hunting cabin belonged to the Marquis de Mores, and it was in danger of a wildfire. Luckily, thanks to the fire crews out in that area, it didn't really get close to us at all. They did a backburn by our interpretive center, and really were able to preserve this house. They watered our lawn. They wet down the house itself. Basically everything they could to make sure that this was preserved. So
it's very nice of them to water the lawn while you were away. I mean, it's really nice to get that lawn watered so that it can green up real nice.
Yeah. So we had that. And then last night we got a call from Homeland Security that my site up in Williston also had a wildfire near that. That one is also contained. That one wasn't anywhere near as close as this one. So I've had two of my sites threatened by fire. And yesterday, when I called one of my sites just to check in, talk, some shop, they told me that they were on lockdown and that police were hunting for an armed individual who was hiding in the woods outside of the site. So it has been an exciting week. A lot of meetings, a lot of me talking to security, and a lot of that. So it's been It's been a week. It's been quite the week.
Yeah, wonderful. I mean, you're pretty much a pro at this point. So, I mean, there's nothing to worry about. You got it handled. Boom, one thing onto the next. You're done. Good to go.
Yeah, it was interesting. I always joke about putting out fires at sites, and this is the time it's actually kind of literal that there are fires at sites. So
yeah,
that has kept me busy. Yeah, I know. I'm kind of hoping to have a quiet weekend this weekend and not hear from any of my sites. So
see, now you said the Q word, and so undoubtedly, because you said the Q word, something will happen. A meteorite will land very close to something. Some ridiculous thing is probably going to happen. Murphy's Law.
I'm sure. I'm sure, but oh well. I like to live dangerously every once in a while. Other than that,
dangerously, just like Mania.
I was gonna say. Other than that, the other big thing was we had a stager come through our house because we are getting ready to put it up on the market, and had them look through the house, and they had to tell us, hey, do this, do that. So I am a little sad about it because this lovely backdrop that I have crafted and such is going to have to change because the desk that I use for podcasting has got to go away. So I'm going to have to
happens.
Reset up my whole setup. So
sure,
just when I'm getting used to it. So
yeah, I mean, at one of these points is probably going to we'll probably be hosting the same room here, so that should be pretty interesting. We could set you up over here and pointing this way, and then I'm pointing this way, and just completely be like Inception. Beer, blues, BS, inside and out, both coming and going at the same time.
I know, we'll be able to literally pass a beer from like one screen to the next. It'll be interesting.
Just like, all right, here you go, and then it's like, oh, thank you. Just wonderful.
Yeah, all the sight gigs we could do with that, end the show like, all right, great night, see you. I could just come up the stairs behind you like, oh,
yeah.
Hey.
Holy crap. Yeah, that'd be good.
So that's my week. How was your week, Kidder?
I mean, it was pretty busy, about the same, but put out some not real fires, but kind of doing about the same of running here, running there, do this, do that, and hope that it's just 12 hours a day. One of those little things, but not too bad. Making some big moves. Of course, still reeling from the Fighting Sioux, losing to Minnesota Duluth a couple weeks ago already, but Minnesota Duluth losing in overtime to University of Massachusetts, I believe it was, UMass. And so it will be UMass and the St. Cloud Husky women for the NCAA Division I men's hockey tournament, the Frozen Four championship game, I believe Saturday night. So won't be watching that because we'll be watching WrestleMania. As another hockey side note, before we again move along to WrestleMania, see wearing the away Avalanche sweater this evening because your Colorado Avalanche are playing this evening against the Anaheim Sucks. Yes, not the Ducks, just the Anaheim Sucks. How about a pregame report? Here's a question. Would you be interested, Howie, in a pregame report of your Colorado Avalanche? Just a question.
I would, but I wanted just to say one thing about the Frozen Four before we get to the Avs.
Okay.
Because at Easter, my brother-in-law was touting how great it was that his Mankato Mavericks
Yes, I see where you're going.
Store.
Yes.
And you know, like it was one of those, like he put his Mankato Mavericks hat on my son, which let's not even talk about the hygiene issue with that hat.
That's absolutely bull. That's the BS part of tonight's show. You cannot, and I repeat, you cannot put that garbage anywhere near a true Fighting Sioux fan, because I know that my godson is a through and through Fighting Sioux fan, okay? This is unacceptable. The Godfather says this is BS. Don't make me come over there, because I know where you live.
Yeah. So, I mean, and that's just to say, and I said it, you know, a little bit, but that's regardless of the hygiene level of that hat, which it's a pretty disgusting hat.
Just because of the logo on the front.
No, I mean, like, okay. I wouldn't touch this hat with like a pair of tongs.
Oh, sweet. Yeah, you don't want to ruin the tongs.
Yeah. Anyway, so for my brother-in-law and his Mankato Mavericks, a little sad farewell to their championship dreams. And that's more time that that I ever wanted to spend on the Mankato Mavericks. So, hey, Kidder, how about that Avs pregame report?
You know, that's the best thing, best use of and best waste of time that we've had on this show. So I'm glad that we could do that for the Mankato trash rabbits. I don't know what you want to call them, but close enough. So let's talk about the wraparound in the pregame report tonight with your Colorado Avalanche versus the Anaheim Sucks. Going into tonight's game, of course, we do not want to spend, again, a whole lot of time on the last game, which was Wednesday night, I believe. The Minnesota Mild finally figured out how to play hockey. And the Avalanche, after winning, I can't remember how many in a row, something like 14-0-2 in 17 games. They were like, nah, you know, we'll let the Minnesota Mild actually play hockey. So they lost 3-8. But tonight, I don't know if that was really the appropriate thing. It's the wrong team. Come on. The sound department is fired, damn it. This is crap.
I'm kidding.
I hope that it actually flipped over to you so then we could see that you were trying to get up and leave. But you know, until we actually
I was gonna say that's why I slammed the sound effect thing down so that you know, hopefully it would cut over.
I gotcha. Well, until we're better paid or paid at all, and we get like an actual sound engineer in here, good enough. But going into tonight's game, your Colorado Avalanche 26-9-4 on the season this year. The Anaheim Sucks 21-7. So we will see. Game time 9 p.m. Central Time at Honda Center in Anaheim, California. Right now, Avs are averaging 3 goals per game, and the Sucks are averaging 2 goals per game. Shots per game, Avs at averaging 35, and the Sucks at 27 per game. Of course, watching my brother Nathan McKinnon right now floating at 32 assists on the season already. And how about Mikko Rantanen? Absolutely stunning this year. 46 points on the season already. I think he had 13 or 14 goals this year already as well. He's absolutely lighting it up. And Rantanen, another one of the assistant captains there, kicking some ass. So we will check that out here tonight on altitude.
No, sounds good. If that game does get underway while we're still talking, I'm expecting some updates.
Yeah, I suppose that we have the technology to hijack some stuff and not illegally retransmit it, so then we don't get sued.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Well, you know what? I do think it is time to grab a beverage and talk about what's on tap, because we talked about hockey, we talked about the wildfire. I mean, I'm getting thirsty. So obviously tonight, since I'm bringing it up here, I have my bottle koozie right here, the Ralph Engelstead Arena bottle sock from the Sioux shop. As you can see, it is an authentic hockey sock, so it is set just the right size of one of these wonderful little beverages here. It also works for the non-alcoholic type as well, in case you're really interested. So before I crack that open, and I don't want to pull it off the bottles, but here's what I'm having this evening. An old Shinerbach. It's been a little bit since I pulled these off of the shelf at the store, so I'm like, I haven't had a Shiner in a while. So we'll go ahead and have the Shiner tonight as we're talking about it. And on the cap here, it says, twist off, shine on. Let's see. Coming from Shiner, Texas. Every drop of Shiner is brewed in Shiner. And yeah, I'm a big fan of the old Shinerbach here. Small town, small brewery. Apparently in Shiner, Texas, made of a population 2,069. Nice. Local craftsmen taking pride in their brewery. Classic Shiner Bock, American style Bock, clean flavor and a slightly sweet finish. And they hope that we enjoy drinking it as much as they enjoyed making it. So again, drinking the old Shiner this evening right there. Checking that out. Put that back on display. Bring this puppy up here because it is time to carry on the beer portion of our little show here. So cheers to you, my brother. What do you got tonight?
So I'm still working through the interesting beer selection that my wife helped me pick out. So what was the main reason for this particular brew that I have to be picked out? It has a tiki guy on the can.
Tiki!
So this is by the Avery Brewing Company out of Boulder, Colorado. I'm not going to attempt to pronounce it because my Hawaiian is non-existent. But it's, well, here, I'll kind of show it up, although I know the camera's going to reverse it. So hold a mirror up to the screen and you can figure it out. Lily Koi Capolo? I apologize to the Hawaiians for that.
If you could, let me check that out again, because it looks like Lily Koi Capolo. So I'm gonna use the resources of the internet here.
Okay. Well, you're doing that. So this is a Belgian-style white ale with passion fruit and spices. The 3 words used to describe it are tropical, juicy, and tart. The can also says it was brewed with Rocky Mountain water, malted barley, malted wheat, passion fruit, coriander, orange peel, hops, and Belgian yeast. It's got a 5.4% alcohol, and yeah, that's
according to their website, it is Lilikoi, if I'm saying that right, Lilikoi Capolo, and Lilikoi is passion fruit, is what it is. It's a fruit that they discovered while brewing on the Big Island of Hawaii. So there's the Belgian style wheat ale, like you were saying, and then the passion fruit, adding that in, some fruity goodness. Do you feel? Here's a question for you: do you feel like you're at breakfast right now?
I haven't even cracked it open yet, kidder.
Okay. So you're not
So
at
we're gonna find
breakfast.
out.
How about at the beach? Do you feel like you're at the beach?
No, I
How
don't.
about a barbecue?
Unfortunately, no.
Nothing's burning. Nothing's burning in your place right now. Okay.
Just my leg, kidder. Just my leg.
Fair enough. According to this, they add over 4 pounds of passion fruit puree to each barrel of beer to bring you to the tropics with every sip. So that's off their website. So now that we have how we can pronounce it again, Lilikoi Capolo. Crack that bitch open. Let's see this. Let's see what you
I was
got.
gonna say before I do,
Uh-oh.
I do have to share the slogan because I got to give them credit for the slogan that's on the can here. I think you'll approve. It says "Beer first, the rest will follow."
Absolutely.
And I will just go on the record as I am not a big believer of fruit in beer, so we'll give this a try. Well, it's better than the steep drop I had last week. You can definitely taste the passion fruit. That just punches you right in the face.
Is it a good punch? Like something you were really hoping for and the pain makes it worth it?
You know, I wouldn't say that it's painful. I don't mind it. I'm not, as I said, I'm not really a fruit and beer kind of guy, but this isn't bad. This isn't bad. I've had worse. I think I once had a blueberry beer that was pretty terrible.
The old blueberry. Yep.
Yeah, that was pretty terrible. That was actually a beer that I pawned off on my dad and my brother. They haven't learned that when I try a new beer and it's not good, I bring it out for them to suffer. Because, as we have discussed in episode 1, we are sharing the misery together.
Yeah, it's very true. And of course, on top of the misery and the beer and tasting, that's really what we're trying to do. We're trying to give you a good idea of what's good out there, what's bad, and of course, our tastes are expertly crafted over the years of many free beer tastings and wine tastings at our good friends in Grand Forks and Fargo. Happy Harry's Bottle Shops, of course. Now, if they want to sponsor us, let us know. Just saying.
I was gonna say, there might also be people who aren't really interested in the beer that we are talking about, but might just enjoy me suffering as I drink some of this for the first time.
I can see that.
Yeah. The Happy Harry's beer tasting was always interesting. I didn't go nearly as many times as you did.
We were on about a 3.5 or 4 year streak of every month, every tasting. It was awesome.
And I missed quite a few. I only went there a couple of times, and such. But that was one of those where you quickly learned. I always felt bad for the first table because those were, no matter what it was, it's like, well, this just tastes like beer, And then by the end, when you had gotten to like your, I don't know, 6th or 7th table, and even though these are small shots, you were like, this stuff's pretty good, which is how I ended up with the blueberry beer. Because I remember it at the end of it, I'm like, this stuff's good. I'm buying some. And then I tried it after not drinking 6 or 7 other little shots of beer.
And then realized that you needed to have 6 or 7 more before you could drink another one. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I also once was there. I think I was fighting a cold. And so I had taken cold medicine like the day before, but it wasn't completely out of my system.
Yeah.
And you and I, we did a light to dark at a table. Because usually the way that event worked was you went up and you tried a couple at each table. You didn't necessarily drink a sample of all the beers at every table. But the rep convinced us to do a light to dark at that table. And I was so nauseous by the end of it. I was so glad that the next table was a sampling of jerky.
Yep. And then how some of them, they had pretzels at the tables too, or crackers to clean your palate and whatnot. I'll just take one of these. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
well,
no,
we
those
have
are good times.
learned and matured and crafted our palates. So maybe there's a beer or alcohol distributor that would like to sponsor us. Hey, join the Beer, Blues, and BS family right here. We have 4 of us you could send some samples to.
Or if you're just in the general audience and you think that there's something that we should try, send it along. If we can get a hold of it, we will. So one of these days, though, Kidder, I'm going to go get us some cold smoke from Montana.
Yes, the official review of Cold Smoke. That's, I guess, one thing that we haven't done is like review the beers that we've had on the show. I mean, we talk about what's on tap, what we're drinking, what's going on. Aside from, saying that we like it or it's kind of our go-to, kind of like my Bud Select. Really enjoy that is kind of a go-to, just gonna drink a beer type of thing. That's really good. But if I'm looking for something with flavor, a Shiner Bock or maybe one of the other brews in the family, kind of like that. I do have quite the palette of acceptable beers because, I'll have a Guinness now and then. I'll have an IPA every once in a while. Usually it's when it gets really hot. That's when I want to drink an IPA. Don't know why, because I've told that to a few people who are like, that's a stupid idea. It just bogs you down and you feel like that. I don't know. It's just kind of like drinking a Leinenkugel when you're sitting on a beach. It kind of goes with it. It tastes good. To me, the hot weather, drinking IPA, maybe it's just the right time when I'm like, this doesn't taste like crap. I don't know. But the one thing before I move on with the different types of beers and whatever, like, reviewing and things, also the Shiner Bock, I suppose, in the old reviewing out of the 5-star beers, I'd give it about a 4 on the 1 to 5 beers, so good. But one thing that I do want to try is Stone Cold's beer. Because as you know, he has his own beer. I haven't been able to find it anywhere around here. But it's been out for over a year, I think, that when he started introducing that he was going to have his own beer. And they keep drinking it on his shows that he's on, and I haven't been able to find it. So that would be one thing that I would love to try and then to review as well.
Yeah, there's it was a while ago. 2019 in November, I got to go to Denver, Colorado for work for a conference, and had a really good. And I'd love to find it again because it was actually really good. It was a dark beer, tasted just like a s'more, and it was good. Yeah. I would love to have a little bit more of that or to try it again. And I can't unfortunately remember the name and such of it, but that was a fun trip because I was with a coworker of mine who is a beer, I don't want to say snob, but probably knows more about beer than you or I ever will. And his favorite thing, I do like going to a bar and drinking with him every now and then, because his thing is to ask usually the waitress. It's something like my dad would do, although my friend, my coworker, is a bit more serious about it. Where my dad is kind of jokey, but he likes to ask the waitress, like, "What's the bitterest IPA you got?" And I'll have that. And while we were at this bar in Denver, he did that, and he drank the IPA that they brought, and then he said, "You got anything stronger?" So he likes a good strong IPA. Is his, but he has definitely tried a bunch of beer. He'd be an interesting person to talk to at some point. So
Sounds good to me.
So, yeah, I will say, Kidder, I have decided though, episode 10. So in like 4 episodes, we got to do a classic, one that you and I have done forever, and that is that we should just do a very simple Bud Light and green olive for episode 10.
All right, that sounds good to me. I actually just picked up some olives, so perfect timing.
I need to pick up some green olives, but I could go for that. That was my thought as I was coming downstairs here to record. So
to the pod cave.
Yes,
yeah, absolutely. I'm good with that. Of course, you got to get the proper giant Kalamata olives or the other green olives, right? Got to get the giant ones with the pimentos, or you want to go spicy jalapenos.
I will say, Kidder, there will definitely be more than 2 olives in my glass.
As any beer drinker of Bud Light and olives should. Listen, if you're at a restaurant and you're like, yep, I would like a Bud Light and olives. Sometimes they look at you funny, like they didn't quite hear you speak English to them or something. I don't get it, but like, yes, green olives, put them into my beer, please. Yes, thank you. And then they come back with 2, and they're the little tiny ass, little weak ass olives. Don't come at me with this weak ass crap. Give me some freaking olives. If you got the little tiny olives, give me a dozen. No problem. If you got the giant ones, like our actual drink olives that you would put in a martini or perhaps a Bloody Mary, give me like 5 of them. Put some freaking olives in the freaking glass if I'm ordering some freaking olives. And then you have the gall to charge like 50 cents or $1 for the freaking things, and you give me 2? Get the hell out of here with that weak ass crap. Come on.
Yeah. I mean, because that's the best part. For anyone who hasn't tried green olives in beer, and I usually recommend a beer like a Bud Light. You know, you wouldn't want green olives in this passion fruit beer. The best part is at the end when you're down to just the olives, and they've been soaking in that beer, and so it's that nice sharp green olive taste with a hint of the whatever beer you've been drinking. Oh, I love it. It's my favorite thing when I do go out to a restaurant. If I order a beer, I will usually order a Bud Light with green olives, unless there's something interesting on tap that I haven't tried, and I might try that.
So glad that I got you into that.
If there's one habit that I picked up from you that I'm not ashamed of, it's that one.
Well, I mean, there might be 1 or 2 others as well, but it might be doubtful. We'll have to start going down that list someday. But yeah, tasty morsel waiting for you at the bottom of the glass. Like, you've just been marinating for 5 minutes while I drank this 20-ounce beer. Yeah. Well, okay, so for you, it's more like half an hour, but I get it.
Yeah. I don't know if we've talked about that on the podcast, that I am the slowest beer drinker in our group.
We have not yet, but now's your chance.
So, and I was talking to somebody else. Actually, I was talking to my boss about this because we took a trip up to Fort Totten this week, and we were talking about it, college and drinking beer. It came up, and I said, I really didn't drink a lot in college because, the first time that we went out, and I didn't do one of those, I'm 21, I'm getting, hammered and drinking 30 drinks. No, I didn't do that. My 21st birthday was spent watching King Kong. Yes. Peter Jackson's King Kong was out in theaters when I turned 21, and I went and I watched that. That was mine. Also, it doesn't help my
Everybody
birthday.
knows how old you are. And they're gonna steal your identity, Howie. They're stealing your identity. You need LifeLock. Sponsor us.
I was gonna say the other problem is that my birthday always falls in the middle of finals week, so yeah, really, like nobody would want to drink. Anyway, the first time I went out and had a beer with a meal, I got the tab, and I saw what those 3 drinks cost on top of my food. And being the social studies teacher I was in training at the time and economic theory, yeah, I looked at it and I said, for what I spent on these drinks, I could get a 3-hour movie worth of entertainment. I could buy a video game that, has 60 hours of entertainment versus, like an hour and a half drinking beer. And so after that, I became the world's slowest drinker in our group, and I would make a tall beer last all night.
Yeah, good times.
Much to Kidder's chagrin.
Well, when I'm like, hey, Jake needs another one, and he's like, I got full. I'm like, yeah, he still needs another one because that means he has to finish the first one. So let's go.
So, I know we're on more of a tangent than we were expecting, but this is bringing up an interesting story, and it's one of the few times that I was actually that I actually got drunk, because I'm one of those. I like to always have my wits about me. I don't like the idea of like blacking out for large periods of time or things like that. And it was actually the one time that you and I almost got into a bar fight too.
Yes. I thought this was what we were thinking or what you were bringing up. So yes, continue. This will be good.
So there was, which hotel was that up in Grand Forks? Was that the Ramada or it was the Ramada, wasn't it?
It was the Ramada, the Dreamers Comedy Club, or Dreamers Bar.
Right. But they would bring comedians in from, it was usually Wednesday nights?
Yep. Wednesday nights, 7 p.m. Come to Dreamers Comedy Club, and you can see usually 2 of the comedians. D, maybe the C list. But you have enough to drink, and they're funny. So continue.
Right. And the deal at the comedy club, because there was a deal, which is partially why it was always good. But for $7, you got a pitcher of beer and a pizza.
And it wasn't just any pizza. It was the original Pizza Corner pizza before they screwed up the recipe. Frickin' Pizza Corner.
Yeah. So we had one of these Wednesdays. Kidder, brother Nico, and myself went. We were sitting at a high top. By it was kind of off on the one side. There was a ramp that went down that had kind of just like a slight ledge, and then it got to kind of our flat spot where we were sitting. This comes up.
It was like
later.
An awkward step right there, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it was kind of like just a weird, like half-inch ledge. And again, this will play a role. Where we were sitting, for me to see the stage, I had to turn my back to the table. Kidder was sitting in the prime spot where he could just look forward at the comedian. Brother Nico was across from me. We get our pizza. We get our pitcher of beer. The comedian's on. I'm watching the comedian, occasionally taking a drink from my beer. And as this first comedian was on, he just kept getting funnier and funnier, having a good time. What I didn't realize was that with my back to Kidder, every time I took a drink of my beer, he would refresh it from the pitcher.
Man, it's so weird. This beer isn't going down at all. I got a full glass yet. This is wow.
Right. But, because I'm such a slow beer drinker, like I just didn't notice this minuscule difference in it. And needless to say, by the time the first comedian was done, I had drank most of the first pitcher.
Whoops.
Yeah. So got through the second comedian, and Brother Nico wasn't drinking. He was the designated driver. Which was probably a good thing in the end. But
yeah, I mean, we could have walked if we really wanted to, but we're lazy and out of shape, so we had a designated driver.
Well, with his career at that time in aviation, he had certain limits of when he could and could not consume alcohol. And so Brother Nico ended up being a designated driver quite a bit. Anyway, as we're going to leave, I ended up tripping over that tiny ledge that was running there because I didn't see it, and crashed into a guy with his girlfriend who was walking down, and he turned to square up and to lay down some blows, and probably would have got Kidder and I into our first ever bar fight, except for Brother Nico hopped in to save the day and explained to him that there was this tiny ledge and that I had clearly tripped. It was an accident. We were very sorry. And the guy accepted that and walked off. And that was lucky because I don't know how I would do in a bar fight, especially when I was that out of it. So
my guess is that you would have reverted to the old NDWF days and grabbed like the pizza tray that the pizza came on, whack, and then the guy would have just been out or something like that, or grabbed the pitcher and busted it across his noggin, something like that. I have confidence that you would have kicked that guy's ass.
I'm glad you do, because I don't. I'm not.
I was there, really, so
I'm not really a fighter, Kidder. I've only had one other time in my life that I almost ended up in a fight.
It's true.
And,
it's true. I would have been there for you. I got your back.
Yeah, this was it middle school? Yeah, middle school. We had a family dog get hit by a car by some neighbors of ours who lived down the street, who had the gall to call us up, and after they'd hit the dog, they didn't stop, and it was a puppy, and they didn't have the gall to stop and tell us because the dog limped away, so they thought, oh, it'll be fine. Got home and proceeded to call us up and say, hey, your dog dented our car. How are you going to pay for it? To which my mom, who answered the phone, said, yeah, and you just killed a $700 hunting dog. How are you going to pay for that? And that was that. Anyway, this kid was the next day on the bus on the way in, just running his mouth about, oh, that dog always chased cars. No, it didn't. It deserved, just shooting his mouth off. And I didn't say anything. I just let it go. But on the way home, that lovely spring day, he happened to see that he had some relatives who were visiting, and he could see them because our frontage road ran along the interstate, and he, had to announce to the whole bus that there were his cousins in the car driving by. Like, okay. We get to my stop, and I'm just going to give a piece of advice out. If there are any kids who listen to this, always be nice to the bus driver. It pays off.
Yep.
So I'm getting off the bus. I say goodbye to Robert, the bus driver. Just good night, have a good weekend. And before I hop off the bus, I yell back into it. I go, hey, Ty, have fun with your inbred cousins. And I hopped off the bus. I dropped my bag. I was ready for him, and I watched him as he charged up the bus, and he came, and he was about to fly down those stairs, and it was going to be on, and Robert slammed the door right in his face. So you just watched him poof, right into the door.
Perfect.
And the bus drives off. Next day, or I think it was Monday, hopped back on the bus, and Robert, the bus driver, was like, hey, just so you know, Ty's suspended. He's no longer able to ride the bus the rest of the year. You're fine. So Kids,
Perfect.
always be nice to the bus driver. It pays.
That's true. Don't screw with those people.
Yeah. Well, Kidder, since we've been talking about fighting, and we have mentioned this at the beginning of the show, you and I are going to be spending a lot of time together because this weekend in Tampa, it's the event of the year.
Mania!
WrestleMania! And that's as exciting.
Thank you, Howard Kennedy McMahon.
Oh, have you ever heard him when he was in his commentating days announcing Raw?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That was always good. The whole welcome to Monday Night Raw. Like, well, you know.
Welcome to Beer, Blues, and Bowl.
Audience out there, let us know who does the better Vince McMahon impression.
Vincent Kennedy McMahon. If I felt like it, I would get up and do my power walk, but I don't feel like getting up. Although I do, because my beer is now empty. So we have problems. So
I believe you.
How
I believe you
about-
have problems. I still got like over half of this thing left.
I think you have a bigger problem on your end because it's not that good as you say that it is. So what I'm going to do is make a, because this is a display model. As did this was not from the fridge, so that is not going to be cold. It is going in there, and this will become the new display model for the rest of the show. So
I guess while Kidder's doing that, let me entertain you with some intermission music.
oh sweet.
That was pretty short.
I may or may not come back. We'll just have to see what happens in the next 2 minutes.
Hello, audience. It's me, Howard Blues. Here alone, trying to entertain you while I talk to an empty chair. I hope you're enjoying the show. I know we're enjoying making the show. And we hope to continue doing this for a long time to come. So I hope you're having a great time with it. If you ever have something you want us to talk about, feel free to shoot us a line. We may or may not talk about it. You can, of course, reach me at howard@beerbluesandbs.com. You can reach Kidder at kidderbeerbluesandbs.com. So, yeah, if you have an idea, a comment, some feedback, beer suggestions, anything like that, feel free to share it with us. We're more than happy to engage with you on that topic. And I think I have vamped long enough, as I see my co-host, the Mark Kidder, has returned with a fresh beverage.
Lies and slander. I don't know what kind of crap you're talking, but I'm gonna watch this, and I know where you live. Damn it! So
I was gonna say, I was just actually, for once, doing the shameless plug and promoting that people could reach out and give us feedback, comments, and other interactions through our email addresses.
are you talking Howard@beerbluesbs.com or Kidder@beerbluesbs.com?
Correct. And if they have negative comments, they can send that to rudeboykyle@beerbluesbs.com.
I think I shortened that. I just want to give the correct address. I think it's rudeboy@beerbluesbs.com. We had to shorten it. Or maybe it is Rudeboy Kyle. Send it to both, just in case. Rudeboy@beerbluesbs.com and rudeboykyle@beerbluesbs.com. Just remember the beerbluesbs.com.
All right. So we were before
Cheers
that.
to you, my brother.
Yes, cheers, which is a horrible thing for you to do to make me drink another swig of this.
Got you good, sucker.
Yeah, so it's
nice and cold and tasty. All right.
Yeah, mine's
So
still
Mania weekend is upon us. Yeah, I know. It's a little fruity, just like you are, but that's okay. I know. It was too easy. It was like a softball. Come on, you can't just leave that out there and not just hit that home run out of the park. Come on. So WrestleMania weekend, it's finally upon us once again. Normally, it's the most magical time of the year, and no, I don't give a crap about Christmas. WrestleMania season is the time of the year when I get really excited, like kind of the childhood excitement comes back. Like, okay, we're gonna have a good show, something to watch, some big build-up anticipation, and here we are again. WrestleMania is like, all right, well, now we got 2 nights, and it's 3 hours a night. So, I mean, we don't have the 6 hours all at once, but we used to make a big thing of it, where we would have a party, we'd get food, drinks, sit and hang out for 7-8 hours, the pre-show, have everything lined up, the chips and dip, different appetizers, and we, like I said, make a big thing out of it, right? Now it's like, oh, you got 2 nights. So you got to take 2 nights out of your busy schedule to try and get together. And is it really that good? I don't know. Looking at the card, because of course the 2 nights, is it big? There's at least people there this year, unlike last year. So we'll see how that goes. There'll be chants, there'll be cheering and booing and things like that. So that'll be nice. But a quick rundown of the matches. And I mean, if we were really technologically advanced, we could make like a full screen graphic. So just imagine you're seeing that right in front of your face here. So night 1, we have a tag team turmoil for a title shot at the women's tag team titles. So the teams are Natalya and Tamina, Naomi and Lana, Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke, and the Riot Squad. Okay, so the winner of that goes on to night 2, faces the tag team champions. Now, the next match, Raw Tag Team Championship on the line, The New Day against AJ Styles and Omos. Seth Rollins and Cesaro. Seth Rollins upset because Cesaro has been swinging him. Very, very in-depth storytelling. Thought I froze for a second. Shane McMahon and Braun Strowman. Braun Strowman pissed because Shane McMahon is calling him stupid. Okay, it's in a steel cage, but the match
in a steel cage.
Still kind of
in a steel cage where nobody can get in, nobody can get out, except to win the match, you have to get out of the cage.
Yeah. Or you could do the 1, 2, 3. But it's like, why? Or crawl. No, wait. You can still crawl over the top. But nobody ever does that because it's a safety risk. And then the next... go ahead. Sorry. The lag is killing me here.
I was just going to say, crawl to the door. Oh, my God. I can't get out of this door. Oh, no. I hate that. I hate the door.
Yes. The door was the dumbest thing to add on to a regular cage match. Speaking of dumb, apparently world-renowned rapper Bad Bunny and Damian Priest against The Miz and John Morrison. Okay. Then we have the first of 2 headliners for night 1. for the SmackDown Women's Championship, Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair. And then your actual main event. It's Bobby Lashley, everybody. Bobby Lashley. And Drew McIntyre, the Scottish psychopath. No, the Scottish warrior. No, the dude with the sword. He's gonna cut him in half. My God, put the sword down, Drew. Don't. You're gonna go to prison.
Drew McIntyre, the 1, 2, 3 kid. Oh, wait. No, that was somebody else.
Wrong decade. So then we move on to night 2 because WrestleMania 37, night 2, because you didn't have enough of night 1 already, even though you did. Hopefully, maybe it does start out. Of course, we don't know if they're actually starting this way, if the lineup is actually listed this way or not, but this is how they're listed to us. So we have the United States champion, Riddle, bro. Like, I feel dumber just watching his character, bro. And Sheamus, who, for some reason, Sheamus looks like he's from a 1920s comic right now. Like, he needs a broom and he needs to be covered in soot. I don't know if they're doing that on purpose or if he just needs to bring me another beer. I mean...
I don't mind Sheamus's new look. I do think it's sad that he is in this position. Originally,
yeah.
Well, as I said, originally he was supposed to be Drew McIntyre's partner at Mania. It was supposed to be Drew McIntyre versus Sheamus. They had a great story build to it, and then they had the match at Fastlane, and I kind of think the only reason Sheamus is getting this U.S. title shot is kind of a, hey, you were supposed to be in the main event at WrestleMania. Here's a feel good. You at least are in the U.S. title shot.
You're not gonna win, but sorry. Yeah. So let's see. As we continue along, I'm just trying to mentally figure out like how to digest all of this. The women's tag team championship match. So it'll be Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler, the current champions, against the tag team turmoil winners from night 1. So if you, as we've talked about before, we do our picks for each show. So if your pick is correct for, night 1 moves on to night 2. If not, I suppose you just lose out on this one specifically. Or depending on Howard the ref, Howard the stats keeper, depending on how charitable he's feeling, he might say, okay, let's pick. Which one do you want?
Well, I think that in this case, if we're going for an official ruling, even though we don't know who that person will be or team will be, you could, in this case, just select winner of the match night 1 and go with that.
I see. There's that technicality BS again. So after that bathroom break of a match, we'll end up with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. I have no clue who Logan Paul is or why he is there. My level of caring is almost near 0. I say almost because according to the article, he's some YouTube star. So maybe mentioning him on this show will get us some extra plays in the algorithm. So then if you're watching this, thanks for watching. But otherwise, no idea.
Yeah, he's a YouTube star. Him and his brother Jake Paul became famous for Vines. If anybody remembers those, it was kind of the predecessor to
Twitter bottom.
Yeah, it was the predecessor really to TikTok. Yes. Yeah. That whole 6-second video. So that's where they rose to prominence. Now they're on YouTube. They've had some controversies in the past. truthfully, the shame is that they're putting him in with this match, which really doesn't need anything to sell it. This is Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. When these guys got called up to the main roster, they had probably one of the best series of matches, that we'd seen in a while. They were throwing down and throwing some amazing matches and doing some just great stuff. I still remember the Fatal 4-Way they were in, and I forget which pay-per-view, but it started off with Sami Zayn running across the ring, haluva kicking, which is his finishing move, Kevin Owens right in the face, like the bell rings, and I'm like, ding, ding, ding. He's across the ring, kicks, goes down. The other two competitors in the match look at each other, look at that, and it's just kind of like, what is with these two? But it was just great. It was different. I'm a big fan of both of these guys. They're going to have a good match. I just hope they're given time. And I'm just sad that they have Logan Paul involved, because I'm going to call it now. There's going to be some screwy finish with him. And it's going to be kind of the sad ending to what will probably be a very good match.
Yeah. And I agree. I mean, we'll see what happens, and totally up to you. I've been running through these, but we haven't done the predictions on each of the matches, because that's the other thing that we like to do, have been doing for a long time, is we do predictions for each of the WWE pay-per-views or specialty shows. We have the list, this person or this person, whatever, however many people, we just choose a winner, or perhaps even a stipulation sometimes, or if somebody special shows up, are they showing up? Is the Money in the Bank briefcase going to be used? Different things like that. We end up doing that, put it into the giant spreadsheet of wrestling goodness, and just for poops and grins, figure out who's the winner of the night or who's the winner of the show. So I'll how about this? I'll finish off the rest of the card for night 2. We'll start back up at the top, because I know if you've made it this far, you're probably wanting another one of these. So then we can go back and then A or B, B or C, whatever. How's that sound?
We'll do it fairly quick fire when we do the predictions. I was actually set up and ready to do the predictions, and then I and such. I have the sheet pulled up, ready for your hot picks.
Wow, the official document is ready for input. I didn't know. This is why we should like plan or something. Damn rookie show. I get it. Bush League. I don't know. Well, we're almost at the end. We have the Intercontinental Championship match. Big E, the current champion holder, versus Apollo Crews, who is now Nigerian in descent, which I know we've talked about before, so you can check that out. I think that was on episode 2. Was that, or the first episode? I can't remember. It might have been on the second one, because I think that's the one we ended up trying to record about 20 different times, and then it didn't come together for some of it. But
I think it was either on episode actually 3 or 4. Here comes the statistician in me. Because episode 3 involved us doing the Star Trek challenge. Then we talked about Fastlane, because that was coming up that Sunday. And then episode 4 would have been our review of Fastlane. So one of those two we mentioned that fact.
Well, thank you. It must have been the whiskey those nights that I ended up forgetting, or that I just didn't drink enough of it. So Big E and Apollo Crews. And then The Fiend, Bray Wyatt, and Randy Orton. I, of course, pull that out in my worst William Regal voice of taking that way back then. The Raw Women's Championship with Asuka and Rhea Ripley, who is now a heel. My question is, why did they have to actually define her now as a heel? Because I thought she was already.
She's not a heel. They cheer her. She's a face.
Right. But on this past week's episode of Monday Night Raw, Of course, the "can they coexist" moment was there in a tag match for the women's tag team titles, where Asuka and Rhea Ripley were a tag team. You know, can they coexist? And Rhea Ripley beat the crap out of Asuka, took a chair after her, all kinds of stuff. And they're like, Rhea Ripley's a heel, man. I'm like, does it matter? I mean,
I want to just call plagiarism, because wasn't that the basically the plot of Fastlane?
maybe. Did
Except
I
you
drink
had
during
Sasha Banks and-
Fastlane?
Well, I'm just saying, like, there wasn't quite the chair shot and such of that, but I mean the same thing, you know, challenger and champion teaming up against the tag team champions, only for it to create dissent. They basically just rehashed the same plot, except this time they used a chair.
Correct.
Ooh.
Yes, because, you know,
the chair. Sorry.
don't fall
This passion
asleep.
fruit beer is getting to me.
I don't know that. You probably only drank about a quarter of it, so get with it, man.
Closer to half.
Whoa, holy crap! I guess we have been going for an hour now, so that's about right for you.
I'm on pace.
Perfect. Well, we mentioned Asuka, Rhea Ripley, so that's that. And then the grand finale, again, as we discussed on a previous show, is it needed? No. We called up our futuristic friends of ourselves and said, hey, this is happening, right? And our future selves said, yes, duh. We know that we called this a mile away, and we in the past said, okay, that's what we thought. Click. Triple threat match for the Universal Championship. Roman Reigns versus Edge versus Daniel Bryan. Yes, 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 yes. The old triple threat that really isn't needed as a triple threat. We talked about that. Watch the last episode or 2 episodes ago, whatever it was. Just go back, watch all 4 of the previous episodes, because you need to do that if you haven't already watched them. So let's scroll all the way up to night 1.
Hello, everybody. This is Howard from the future, interrupting Howard and Kidder of the past. Although, by the time you guys see this, it's now the past. You know, time travel is difficult, and it's probably why it's best left to the professionals. You know, like a doctor. Anyway, I'm interrupting here because as you're just hearing this show, we said we were going to be doing the predictions. We actually decided that this show had run far too long as it is, and we knew that we were going to need to talk about the analysis and our thoughts on WrestleMania. So what we have done is we've actually taken the predictions from this episode, combined it with some analysis and our thoughts on the big WrestleMania event, and we've created a bonus episode. So you should be able to find that bonus episode wherever you find our podcast. So if you want to hear about our predictions, the results of those predictions, and what we thought of WrestleMania, that's where you need to tune in. Now, at this point, it's time for me to release it back to Howard and Kidder of the past for them to wrap up the show. Hope you enjoy it. Well, Kidder, I know we had some other topics that we wanted to talk about, but we have been running for quite a long chunk of time. We're up to about an hour and a half.
Oh,
So-
that's all? Clearly, people watching this didn't know about our level of BSing. We're professional BSers, folks. Thank you for being along for this. I suppose we should try and wrap it up then, huh?
Yeah, I just want to point out as another point I'm going to give myself on predictions. Way back when you and I were talking about this and the format, I believe you said that we should do 15 minutes for a time length. We never would have pulled
Well,
off 15 minutes.
I mean, maybe for one topic, but then we'd have to run 6 episodes a week. That kind of works out to an hour and a half, right? Almost.
Yeah. So I'm up 2 points on the WrestleMania weekend. And with that, Kidder, why don't you take us out with all of our shameless plugs?
Well, I'm busy putting my beer sock on the next beer that's going to go in the fridge. So as you can see now, I adding to the collection back here of the Fighting Sioux Belfour, plus the 2 Shiner box from tonight's episode, if you will. Let's discuss how you can help us. Well, you could join the show Beer Blues BS on Facebook. You can like the show, whether you like it or you don't like it. You can certainly give us your feedback, what you like, what you don't like, what you think is funny or not funny. Send us some feedback. We want to hear some comments from you. We're doing the old YouTube thing and Podbean. We're all over the place. Get us on your favorite device so that you can take us with you wherever you go. We'd love to have, we'd love to be in your car, in your ears, whatever it might be. Take us along with you, all right? Join us, like I said, on the old social media, emails as well. We told them earlier in the show, but you can hit me up, Kidder, Kidder, at beerbluesbs.com. You can also hit up that guy on the other end of this old podcast, Howard, at beerbluesbs.com. Of course, if you want to hit up Brother Nico or Brother Rude Boy Kyle, like we said earlier, shoot him an email, Rude Boy Kyle or just Rude Boy at beerbluesbs.com, and Bob Giggles at beerbluesbs.com. So that's almost enough for the show. The Avalanche are currently playing the Anaheim Sucks. On top of that, you want the local weather information for North Dakota or Central North Dakota? Check out twitch.tv/KRDN Eyewitness Weather Now, and check out your personalized forecast from the KRDN Eyewitness News 8 Storm Team. How about that? Check that out. The Storm Trackers, this guy and that guy. Hey, we're here. We're going to be here all summer and into next winter as well, looking for some severe weather once again, some storm tracking, tornado chasing. We're just crazy mofos. So you got any quick parting thoughts before I put a nice little tidy bow on this old sumbitch?
No, I think that's it. So
Awesome.
On behalf of myself and Kidder, thanks for listening to Beer, Blues, and BS. We'll catch you down the road next time.
You have been listening to a UA production of Beer, Blues, and BS. If you enjoyed the show, help others find out about it by rating the show or leaving a review at your podcast listening service of choice. Thanks for listening, and may your glass never be empty. UA Productions presents A Glimpse Behind the Curtain.
I was gonna say, Kidder, you heard me hit the table. I was a little mad at myself.
Pre-show at
Go
6. Sorry. Why are you mad at yourself?
Because ever since you and I talked about recording tonight,
Uh-huh.
I told Kate, because Kate and I have a running inside joke
Uh-huh.
that we've been doing lately. And I was going to ask you on the podcast when we talked about getting together, hey, Kidder, are we getting food? And why is the answer steak? I was going to ask that. I was waiting. I even said that to her before I came down. I'm like, I'm going to use that line on Kidder and get a reaction out of him. And I just realized it now as we were talking about it. I'm like, I didn't say it.
Are you saying it's because I like cooking steak? I love grilling steak. Is that why?
No.
Why are you hating on my meat? Why you hating on my meat?
It's just been a thing for like the last 2 weeks where like every time I ask her like, hey, any thoughts on dinner? And why is the answer steak? I've been doing that to her. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to use that on Kidder just to get a reaction. And
see here, I thought that you were, because of how many times we've grilled, how many times that we go to the butcher shop and pick up 10 pounds of meat for everybody who chips in $5. Here I thought you were hating on my grilling, and I was gonna say that we're gonna have to Rochambeau, and I get to go first.
No,